this. Gervonta Tank Davis is a big-time predator. He's a big-time predator who needs to hunt big-time game.
Is Jake Paul someone you'd want to take on at one point?
Yeah. Tell him, this is my call out. Jake Paul, what up? What up, Jake Paul?
I got somebody I want to call out after this fight.
You said you got somebody you want to call out after this fight?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Can you give a hint?
Is it Lomachenko?
Gervonta Tank Davis, a dominant lightweight boxing champion, recently called out YouTuber-turned-boxer Jake Paul, labeling him a bozo and challenging his legitimacy in the sport following Paul's controversial bout with Mike Tyson. Davis expressed his frustration over Paul's rise in boxing, questioning his ability to compete with skilled professionals.
You were an interested observer on the Netflix event, Paul versus Tyson.
Why would he even want to fight him? And who told Mike Tyson to fight anyway?
Is Jake Paul someone you'd want to take on at one point?
Yeah. Tell him, this is my call out. Jake Paul, what up? What up, Jake Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
In response, Paul fired back on social media with sharp words, stating, "Floyd's little son calling me out? Come on, little Tank. You know better. I saw you pretend like you didn't know who Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor are. Do better, and maybe one day I give you a platform to shine again after that budget basic press conference you just had." Tank Davis called out Jake Paul, reportedly inspired by the massive buzz surrounding Paul's fight with Mike Tyson, which had significant Netflix involvement. The event, combining boxing with entertainment, highlighted a shift in the sports landscape, with streaming platforms like Netflix stepping in to deliver high-profile spectacles aimed at broad audiences.
That there was going to be a lot of people on your platform watching this. That's what you promoted. That's what you wanted. And you failed not only people in America, all over the world that wanted to see this fight. Like, I'm going to bed now. It's like not even worth it. The women, I don't even know if they're on fighting right now because I don't even know where they're at. But this is ridiculous, Netflix. Y'all owe everybody a bunch of money. Not only the fighters, the subscribers.
Davis is a prize fighter at heart and sees a fight with Jake Paul as an opportunity to make his final bouts thrilling, aligning with his desire to end his career on a high note.
I've been told y'all Gervonta Tank Davis isn't a prize fighter. I know a lot of you guys say, well, he doesn't fight for belts, he doesn't fight for legacy, he fights for money. He's a prize fighter, Jerry. And I'm going to assume a prize fighter is a guy who is solely making fights based off of cash reward. He'd rather fight a bum for $50 million than fight a guy who's experienced for $10 million. That is what a prize fighter would be. Actual definition, a professional boxer who competes in matches for money prizes. So let's take a look at it. Turki Al-Sheikh has declared he wants to make Tank versus Shakur. He says, my plan for Shakur is this fight. He's referring to Floyd Schofield, then Williams Zepeda, and then let's see if Tank wants to be in our show. Tank's not going to fight Shakur. He's not going to fight him in Saudi Arabia. So now that we've established Tank isn't a prize fighter, because if he was, his career resume would look a whole lot different, then we must ask, what is Tank's goal in boxing? I'll tell you right now, it's easy money. Tank is the type of guy, he'd rather fight, let's say, 4 Lamont Roaches for $20 million than fight 1 Shakur Stevenson for $80 million, which is fine. But I'm tired of people saying, oh, he's a prize fighter. That's why he's not taking these fights. He's not a prize fighter. The biggest money fights is Haney, Ryan, Tio, Shakur, and Loma. He's not even going to take half of those fights. So please, guys, all my Tank fans, all my guys who claim Tank is a prize fighter, that's why he's not fighting for the belts, please stop it. The guy's not a legacy fighter.
Jake Paul's manager, Nikisa Badarian, remarked during a press interaction that Gervonta needs Jake Paul. He explained that Davis, despite being a skilled fighter, stands to gain significantly by fighting a celebrity boxer like Paul. The claim underscores the financial disparity between traditional boxing matches and high-profile crossover bouts. Paul's events consistently generate massive revenue, a draw that a prize fighter like Davis finds hard to ignore.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
Jake Paul's success isn't limited to his performances in the ring. He has become a skilled promoter, generating opportunities for other fighters and growing the sport's audience. Paul's ability to leverage social media, partnerships, and innovative platforms like Netflix has set him apart. Even traditional boxers acknowledge his understanding of how to create buzz, fill stadiums, and bring financial success to the table.
Jake Paul is unequivocally the most successful fighter in history 4 years in. No one comes close. No one. You couldn't list one that comes close, including Brock Lesnar if you include his WWE career. 4 years in terms of what he's done in terms of box office, pay-per-view, impact, helping other boxers, because he had platform, he had awareness, and he's got the focus and discipline to drive with it.
Despite the business appeal, Davis isn't sold on Paul's legitimacy as a boxer. When asked if he would entertain fighting Paul, Davis scoffed, saying, "I will laugh at it." He also refers to Paul as a clown, which he suggests is a reflection of his personality, not necessarily his skill.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown.
Yeah.
He's a clown.
Would you look at it as a joke if someone, if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. Like, you want me to fight him?
You think it'll ever come to the point where you're going to mix into, I mean, you're obviously doing the real shit, but will it ever mix into the point where the money's big enough for you to
would you ever do a fight like that?
I feel as though in my career, I can't do that right now.
The possibility of a Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight has sparked significant conversation among fans. Following the Paul-Tyson fight, many suggested that Paul should challenge a real boxer closer to his age and size, like Davis. Fans argue this would lend more credibility to Paul's boxing career and create a competitive must-watch event.
I want an apology right now. I just posted this shit. I just said this earlier. And y'all was like, oh, he too small. He can't fight him. Oh, weight classes. Shut the fuck up. Literally, in the post-fight press conference, I didn't even know this shit happened. They asked Jake if he wanted to fight Tank, which is what I just fucking said. And it was like, Tank had posted that he would beat the brakes off of him, which I think he would do. And what's crazy is, if you watched it, Jake looked nervous answering that question. Because then he responded with some shit like, oh, isn't there a height requirement? Like, bro, what? Like, what? Let him fight. It'd be the biggest fight ever. Let him fight. Please let him. Oh my God. Please let these niggas fight each other. Because you know what's going to happen? Tank is going to pack this man up. It's going to be easy. It will. It will be an easy fight for Tank. I promise you that. He going to walk away with like, I don't know, like 30 million, maybe. And then he might retire. Who knows?
Davis has publicly announced his plans to retire by 2025, citing boredom with the sport.
Tank is just done with boxing. He does not enjoy it anymore. It's very clear that he just does not want to box anymore, and that's okay. He went into more detail about why he wants to retire after 2025, and it basically just comes down to he's tired of fighting. He's tired of getting punched in the face. He's not worried about his legacy. He said that he has his legacy in his city, and that's all he's worried about. He did also say that he wants to go to therapy, and he feels like if he goes to therapy now while he's boxing, he won't have that same fire inside of him, and he won't even be able to mentally get prepared for a fight. He also brought up his kids a lot, says he wants to be a lot softer for his daughters. He's got his son now, so he wants to be there for his son and be a good dad and not be getting beat up in the gym all the time. So honestly, I gotta respect it. You know what I mean? Like, we can't just worry about people's mental when they're at their lowest. You know, why do we have to see Tank lose to worry about his mental? Because Sonny Edwards just retired because of his mental, but he was at his lowest. So I don't think we have to see Tank get there to care about his mental. So if he wants to go and he wants to get his last 2-3 fights in, okay, great. Do that. And then go take care of yourself. Because he is young. And I think it's becoming more of a trend to retire when you're like 30, 31. Because Sonny Edwards, 28. Gervonta is going to retire at like 31, 32. And then even Jesse Bam Rodriguez says by the time he's 30, he doesn't really want to be in the sport anymore.
This revelation adds urgency to his remaining fights as he looks to make them exciting and memorable.
But I think this does have a lot to do with them getting into the sport so young. When you're doing it from like the age of 12 or even sometimes younger for Tank, I believe he was younger. So when you've been doing it for that long, getting beat up for that long, I mean, it takes a toll on you. You just don't want to do it anymore. So I gotta respect it.
In a recent press conference, Davis revealed he had already chosen his opponents for his last 3 fights, but refused to disclose their identities.
The last fight you want to go out on, like, who do you have anybody in mind? Come
on. No, I'm saying I don't have a name right now. But I got somebody I want to call out after this fight.
You said you got somebody you want to call out after this fight? Yeah. Who is that?
I'm not gonna tell you.
Can you give a hint?
Is it Lomachenko?
This secrecy has fueled speculation about potential bouts, including one with Paul.
So Gervonta Tank Davis is set to retire next year, 2025, by the end of the year. He said this yesterday at his press conference with him and Lamont Roach. He said he wants to retire, get out the limelight, focus on real estate, just kind of get away from the bright lights, cameras, mental health, therapy, all that type of good stuff. And I'm not going to sit on here and bash him. You know, I'm a huge advocate for mental health, especially with men. I think there's a very valid reason to retire or step away from boxing. My whole mindset mentality is boxing's a job, and any job, you want to leave it with more than you came in there with. And Tank has done that a millionfold. If you want to walk away from the sport, go ahead. You don't owe anybody anything. If you want to focus on yourself, if you want to do whatever, you've 100% earned that. I'm not going to sit here and take that away from Tank. Now, Tank said in 2025, he hopes to fight Ryan Garcia again. That's the only fight he said he's really looking for this year. Do I think he's going to permanently retire from boxing? More than likely not. Could he take a couple months to maybe a year or 2 off? Maybe so, but for Tank to never box again after 2025, I find that very unlikely. But like I said, the kid's earned it. I wouldn't be mad if he did.
Davis also criticized the state of boxing, calling it trash, a sentiment that reflects his frustration with the current direction of the sport.
Are you retiring?
What changed?
What made this shit trash, garbage?
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will be?
Gervonta, something should have happened during this time, because when I saw you at the Frank Martin press conference, it looked like you were like talks about retirement was not even discussed at this moment, and now it's something you keep on repeating. Is it just because obviously what you've done through boxing since you were a kid and everything? Where's Calvin Ford? Is Calvin Ford and Leonard Edelby usually they're around to?
You think you might regain the love for it though? You never know. Like like say you got to swap today.
Okay. Jake Paul responded diplomatically to Davis's comments, expressing admiration for his skills. He's a great fighter, and he surprised me a couple of times, Paul said, acknowledging Davis's talent. Paul's respectful tone suggests he recognizes Davis's boxing prowess, even if they clash in terms of personality and approach to the sport.
Your thoughts on Tank Davis?
Man, he's a great fighter. He's a great fighter. He surprised me a couple of times. We've had some word exchanges.
Yes.
But it's all for fun. I hope this fight with Ryan Garcia happens.
Who you leaning on?
It's a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. You know, Gervonta hasn't shown the ability to win a lot of rounds against taller fighters, and then he relies on the knockout in the later rounds, which has worked for him.
Renowned commentator Joe Rogan praised Davis' unique fighting style, noting how he conserves energy in the early rounds and allows his opponents to work.
Yeah, he's a bad man. And there's a good crop of people like that today. Tank is another one.
Yes.
Phenomenal fighter.
Yes. Look, Kid Austin is right on the hills, right? Kid
Bruce
Austin.
Ennis.
Correct. Bruce.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, you look, I can promote a lot of fighters. You expecting me to mention a whole bunch of names. Got this week Zotto. He shows you something that is like an illusion. Might not be the first time once he tried you and you go for it, but it's coming. And that's how he sets you up. He set traps.
Yeah, he sets traps, and he's got ridiculous one-punch knockout power, too. He's just such an interesting fighter because his style is so different from everybody else. He's so conservative in the early rounds, throws so few punches, and he lets you work. He lets you work, and you're backing up, and you're always afraid of that power, and he's just moving in, trying to find that opening where he just gets in there on you.
Your mind is burning energy.
Yeah.
You physically burning energy.
This strategic approach has earned Davis a reputation as a tactical and effective fighter, contrasting with Paul's more aggressive and showy style, which appeals to casual fans.
Because you know, right, even if he just touched you in the arm, you know, based on what you've been hearing through the whole press conference and through the whole fights he had before then, yourself, that you better not get hit.
Yeah.
See, power rules everything around you. One thing about power, you can lose all the fights, all the rounds, and that power. Come on.
Yep.
Right? That would make the Foremans, the Mike Tyson.
Currently competing as an underlightweight, Davis has been advised to move up to 140 pounds to challenge himself.
This is my personal take on it. I've been saying for a while that Gervonta Tank Davis needs to go up to 140 and challenge himself. Now, a lot of the fanboys, you Gervonta Tank Davis fanboys, called me a hater for that because y'all just don't get it. And I don't really blame fanboys. Fanboys are followers. So when you hear somebody talk with his own mind, talk like a leader, they're immediately unidentifiable. So you guys see him as a hater, all right? The truth of the matter is, Gervonta Tank Davis is a big-time predator. He's a big-time predator who needs to hunt big-time game. There are fighters who are just generational talents, right? And those fighters, they must get it all, have it all. And I know a lot of you guys will see it as money, right? Because y'all just not made of that stuff. And I've been trying to say it in live streams. I've been trying to say it in videos. I've been talking about boxing in a way from a perspective of big-time fighters, big-time legacy, and what makes a warrior from when they're small. Gervonta Tank Davis has been a beast for as long as he remembers. From a little kid, he's been a beast.
Many experts argue that stepping into a higher weight class could add new dimensions to his career and prepare him for exciting matchups, potentially including crossover fights like the one with Paul.
Tank Davis says that he's bored with boxing. He said if paid enough, he'd make an MMA debut. He said back in the day in the streets, he used to throw a few punches and then he'd go for the takedown and throw him on the back.
Heavyweight champion Tyson Fury weighed in on the Paul Davis debate, acknowledging that Davis is the superior boxer but praising Paul's promotional skills.
Fantastic event. Anyone who don't think it's a fantastic event is jealous. Who's better, at Tank Davis or Jake Paul? So immediately, yeah, the normal layman would say, oh, Tank Davis is better. But better at what? Is he better at selling tickets? Is he better at selling stadiums out? Is he better at creating controversy? Is he better at getting followed on Instagram? Is he better at putting more eyeballs on the boxing? Is he better than him at that? The answer would be no. But is he better at him in a fight? It has to be really, you have to break it down.
Davis has offered conflicting opinions on Paul, acknowledging his decency and skill in promoting himself, but maintaining that he is still a clown due to his personality.
So at first I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming in up.
Why is that?
Because of how he was making it look like he'll call out somebody else that's like, but now that I see that, I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. He's still a clown.
That's how he gets paid, yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Far as him like in the gym, I feel like I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He was really like trying to be a boxer.
Okay, but real talk, if he actually faces a real boxer, which we haven't seen yet, you're shaking your head. But real talk for you, Tank, if he gets his ass in the ring with a real boxer, what's gonna happen? I
mean, if they pick his fight right, I think that he's decent.
Yeah,
like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way. If he continue to do like stay in the gym,
yeah,
like you say, like you get up in the morning, like he's a boxer. You know what I mean? He's in the gym, so.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah. Cause he's.
Boxer Gary Russell has criticized Davis, suggesting he isn't as formidable as he appears and even implying he might be avoiding challenging fights. Such remarks add another layer of intrigue to the debate around Davis's career trajectory and his potential matchup with Paul.
Talk to us. Why? What makes you, and believe me, you're not convincing me, but just for the fans who don't know or maybe that need to know better, what kind of problem do you present for Tank?
for one, I think he's scared of me. Ain't no way in hell anybody in the sport of this sport of boxing that we compete against can say they want to fight me. I'm scared to fight them. Please believe I'm putting up to your gym. We got to spar. We got to do something. You got to feel where I'm coming from. That's just the man in me in general, you know. So I think fear probably plays a little part in that. But not to mention, I was a world champion before Gervonta Tank Davis was even a professional fighter. My skill set, I believe my skill set completely outweighs him head and shoulders. You know what I'm saying? He's never fought or competed against someone that brings what I bring to the table.
Enough said.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that
nah.
right there, it says it all. They would pick and choose. They not the type of people that would blindly close and like him. I'm that guy that'll close my eyes and I don't give a fuck who they line up. That's Boogie. It's a big difference.
Yes.
Big difference.
Interestingly, Davis isn't ranked among the top 10 pound-for-pound lightweight fighters, a fact that surprises many of his fans. This statistic raises questions about his standing in the sport and whether a fight with Paul would be a step forward or a distraction.
Gervonta Davis is not a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter right now. He's arguably not even in the top 10 pound-for-pound right now. Despite how cool this picture is, it does not get him into the pound-for-pound list. Even though we could say that he could probably beat everyone in the lightweight division, even though I think he loses to Shakur, he hasn't done it, and he probably isn't gonna do it. But what would it take for him to get to the #1 pound-for-pound spot? Let's go over what he would have to do to reach #1. Well, first off, he'd obviously have to go undisputed in the lightweight division. And even though that would be great, I think that only cracks him like #4. Because the only one in the top 10 pound-for-pound in the lightweight division is maybe Shakur.
Davis's retirement plans and frustrations with the sport add urgency to his remaining bouts, making a crossover fight more enticing. While their styles and personalities differ dramatically, both fighters bring unique strengths to the table, promising an exciting spectacle if the fight materializes.
But realistically, he's gonna have to do more than just go undisputed in the lightweight division. So obviously, he'd have to go up to 140 because there's no way he's making 130. And then he'd have to beat a dude like Teofimo, and he'd probably have to beat Devin Haney as well. And I think that could probably get him the #1 spot. But yeah, we can sit here and say Tank is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters right now, which I think he's one of the most talented, and I think he could do most of what I said. However, hypotheticals aren't going to work with pound-for-pound listing.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next time.